As of 2015, the Department of Homeland Security estimated that there were 12 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. In addition to the expected challenges of immigration, such as leaving family behind or adapting to a new language and culture, these undocumented migrants face unique challenges. The difficulties often start during the migrant's journey. The level of danger varies depending on the sending country and method of transportation, but 75% of undocumented immigrants to the United States travel from Central America and Mexico along the ground. The danger comes in the form of kidnappings, shootings, robbery, and physical assault. A root cause of the pervasiveness of this danger is the failure of institutions designed for the protection of the people. Because police and military in Central America and Mexico are generally either inept or corrupt, migrants are unwilling to trust in their protection. Due to this lack of trust and fear of deportation, if their migrant status is revealed, migrants are generally unwilling to report crimes against them. With no fear of repercussions, crimes against migrants have grown drastically. Amnesty International estimates that as many as 60% of all the women traveling through Central America and Mexico to the United States are raped during their journey. Although the physical danger is usually lessened once a migrant arrives in their receiving country, the challenges do not stop upon arrival. Being a citizen or legal resident of a nation generally gives you access to certain resources and privileges. Undocumented migrants don't have access to those resources, even though they still pay the income and sales tax that funds them. Accessing most federal and state resources generally requires some sort of identification, often a driver's license. In the United States, under the 10th Amendment, issuing of driver's licenses is left up to the discretion of the individual states. It wasn't until 1993 that California passed the nation's first law requiring licensed applicants to prove their legal status. Many states did not require proof of legal status. That changed with the Real ID Act of 2005. Under the Act, applicants must provide proof of legal status, proof of date of birth, documents with a name and address, and either a social security number or proof that you are ineligible for a social security number. Without a driver's license or documentation, migrants struggle to do things like open a bank account, get employment, or register for school. Some states offer driving privilege cards so migrants are able to drive, but the card is not valid as an ID, and only 16 states offer a program like that. Undocumented migrants are also unable to access things like unemployment payments, rental assistance, or financing for larger purchases like houses and cars. This has been particularly problematic during the pandemic, when service sector jobs that are filled largely by immigrants were among the hardest hit. Immigrants struggled to get the stimulus and increased unemployment payments, and many were evicted from their homes as a result when they lost their jobs. Undocumented status also hampers migrants' upward economic mobility and limits their options when seeking better paying jobs. Migrants with legal status generally have options for seeking jobs with potential for growth and often enter the country with skills or resources. Undocumented migrants are limited by their undocumented status and often must settle for the positions that are willing to hire undocumented immigrants. The Immigration Reform and Control Act made hiring undocumented immigrants illegal, so many migrants choose to work for a labor contractor. Labor contractors are generally less vigilant when checking legal status and are willing to overlook gaps in documentation. Contractors pay less and deny workers things like paid sick leave and workers' compensation for on-the-job injuries. However, it is often the only option that undocumented migrants have. Higher-paying jobs that don't go through labor contractors are unwilling to take on the risk of hiring a migrant. Migration alone is a challenge and presents many obstacles. Migrating without documentation is incredibly difficult. Undocumented migrants are disadvantaged in ways that are not their fault. They face limitations in economic upward mobility that can last through generations.